Hello, and welcome to this week's episode. I am here with my very dear friend, Kevin. Hey, Kevin.
Hey Laura, thanks for having me. It's about time you got back to this.
Aw, thank you. Yeah, I'm excited. I almost put it to pasture forever, but it didn't feel right.
Yeah, yeah. Well, I'm glad you're back and I get to come along for the ride, at least today.
Well, for those of you who maybe are haven't been around me as much recently, maybe checked out the Art of Authenticity way back. Kevin and I have known each other for a few years. What is it, like five, six, something like
Sure, that sounds good. Something like that.
that. And we're very dear friends. And we worked together at the Little Soul School. Um, but this round of the Art of Authenticity, the reason I wanted to relaunch, come back to this question of what does it mean to have a life that feels authentic? What is the literal art of authenticity, right? The title. I wanted to bring on people who I feel are deeply curious about this conversation of life. Like we're here, we're living, we're making sense of it. It's difficult. And I think of you as a true warrior for that cause. So I appreciate you being here and sharing your story and time.
You're very welcome. You're very welcome. We're the same kind of different, the same kind of strange, I guess. We speak each other's. There's like this, people talk about the five love languages, and then there's like this languageless language, that only the people that are like they know it, like they know their people when they see them and when they're with them. And so that's we're each other's people. We get it.
Yeah. Yeah, I think you were saying it just a minute before we hit record, but it's like once you've started this conversation, it's like a sinkhole you can't get
It's like a disease. You can't get rid of it. It's like terminal illness, but the good kind.
Oh my God, everybody's like, click, I want to get off this podcast. So yeah, I mean, I think what I would love to talk about is, share with everybody and converse with you about is, you know, you put yourself through a lot. We'll get into it. But between psychedelics and dark rooms and the amount of literature you've read and the amount of effort you put into yourself to peel back the proverbial onion into this
Mm.
deeper sense of aliveness. Who are we? What are we? Why are we here? What does it mean? And so I'd love to share some of those stories, some of the process, but to start off, like, I mean, why, Kevin? Like, no, I mean, but what is it? What has it been for you to connect to this conversation of, purpose, what it means, why we're here, the truth of this experience of life? Like, why does that process take center stage so frequently? What does it mean to you?
Yeah. So, for about a decade, I was in entertainment management. So I worked with really, really creative people, writers, musicians, and I remember I would ask people, or these people, this artist, like, why do you create? And their answer was usually something like, I don't know what else to do. I have to, and there are those writers, they say, well, I write because I must. Like I
Yeah.
would explode if I didn't. And musicians say the same, and painters say the same thing. And there are people that are in business that they say the same thing. I'm just hardwired for this. And for whatever reason, I can't not ask questions. I've always been this way. I mean, I grew up, the middle child of a Midwestern family in Southern Indiana. evangelical Christian, and from a really young age. I mean, my parents would even say this, that the only thing I was ever really interested in was like philosophy, even as a kid, like why, like what is reality? What is God? Who am I? And I just sensed that on some level that these were all actually the same question.
Mm.
Just intuitively, I think children know this stuff, right? That like there's this thing, reality, and we're not separate from it. It actually is us. And then we go, you know, have to go grow up and be adults. And I just went kicking and screaming and just kind of refused to grow up, I guess, of,
Yeah.
asking the big questions. I mean, it's kind of like, what causes a plant to reach towards sunlight? Whatever that is what causes me to seek out stuff.
Yeah. Yeah. Valid. And I feel very similar. It's really well put. And so as you're this plant and you're asking, um, a lot of people are asking this question, why does my life not feel as connected as I want, as aligned as I want? Why do I not feel in relation to my life in the way that I want? And I think they're ultimately looking to feel happier. But
Yeah.
happiness, as we've talked about, is this sort of elusive, difficult thing to connect to. But I think they actually mean they want to connect to their true self or know themselves in a way
Hmm.
that is intangible. So, how do you think about that part for yourself? I mean, this exploration, these questions, the things you put yourself through,
Hmm.
you're asking the question to what end? Like, what is the, I mean, the driving thing is I can't not, but like,
Hmm.
what have you learned? What are you navigating? What
Yeah.
does it mean to you?
Yeah. I mean, you and I have talked a lot about people like Adyashanti and all these people who had, language this seeking in different ways. And there's something he says that I really gravitate toward, that, we have this epidemic of not enoughness. So I think as children, we're just ourselves. We're not self-conscious. I remember the neighborhood we lived in Nashville. We had a neighbor, a kid. He was a toddler, and he would just streak through the green space naked. He didn't care. I was like, oh man, he's my guru. Like, I want to be that kid. And then we learned that no, that's not, you're not okay. And and it creates that split inside of us that I'm not okay. I'm not enough as I am. And then I guess most of the people listening to this know that, oh, well, society happily gives us the programming and conditioning that validates that, because it makes us really productive and controllable, right?
Yeah, yeah,
When you start doing this thing and make money, then you'll be enough. And so I think it really is just that. It's what does it mean to be me? Who am I? Why am I here? And really, I think for me, it's been the discovery that those are the same thing, that who I am is why I am here. They're the same. I just don't know who I am. It's like I have this amnesia, this chronic case of mistaken identity. And so when I'm out, I'm basically out trying to find myself, right? Like it's kind of, everybody talks about the hero's journey, and the hero's journey has nothing to do with slaying the dragon, rescuing the princess or the prince, depending on who's the hero, right? Um, it's about Luke Skywalker discovering he's a Jedi. You know, it's about Joan of Arc realizing she's a badass. It's all a story of identity and finding who and what one actually is. And so I think, like, I can't speak for anyone else, but I think this is universal, that we all have this chronic case of mistaken identity. And really what we're searching for in all of these things, whether the thing is, I want to make money, I want to be famous, I want to have influence, or I want to abandon all of those things and find out if I'm really a soul trapped in a human body. I mean, what we're really looking for is who am I? Like, what is the actual answer to that question? and it's unpin downable.
It's a good word, unpin downable.
Unpin downable, because you're unpin downable,
Yeah. Yeah.
right? There's not like this solid thing called you that once you find it, then you will finally be complete. No, it's this ever changing, complex, it's like the flowing of a river, that you call it river, but it's happening more than a thing.
Yeah. Right. It's an energy. It's a feeling
Yeah.
within, and feeling not like sad, happy feeling.
Yeah.
It's like a texture. And when you're there, but
Yeah.
it's hard to like stay there very long. Um, so okay, so just backing up, um, sharing with the audience a little bit. I appreciate the global view, and I love how articulate you are on these topics. This is why I call you all
you,
the time.
you want to get to the why did you do drugs part, right?
I was actually going to ask you. I mean, I mean, you very openly have done a ton of hallucinogenics, and you've helped people with it, and you've
Yeah.
also did this dark room, which I can't get over, where you locked
Yeah.
yourself in a dark room for days and contending with the emptiness of that, and on, right? Um, and in those moments, there is this sort of deep connection and
Yeah.
almost transcendent experience, right? But then it disappears. So I guess like for people out there, it's like this seeking, this attempt to get there, this desire to try the next thing, I think is rampant in the spirituality communities.
Yeah.
You and I both come from business backgrounds, and people are looking to be successful and make more money. And then I got into authenticity, and it's like people are trying to become authentic, like get there, like I'm going to be authentic as a state. And then it's like be spiritual. And so there's a lot of chasing experientially heightened,
Hmm.
existentially like cool experiences, which are nice,
Yeah.
but like you can't be high all day or be,
No.
you know. So I guess my question, or maybe a conversation with you, is like we both see it as, you know, such a prevalent part of culture. And I think it comes from a good place. People are attempting to heal, feel better, resolve, understand, but it
Yeah.
becomes its own loop,
It
right?
does.
And I know
Yeah.
you and I both struggled at it various times. How do you think about balancing life itself, grabbing groceries, like,
Yeah.
right? And feeling that connection to that deeper sense of self.
Yeah. Well, I think that all of these things, modalities, experiences, peak states, they are, um, I mean, they're helpful as far as they go. And I think for me, the most important realization, and that's what it is, it's a realization, right? Like whenever these sages and mystics and philosophers are all talking about, or whatever you want to call it, awakening, enlightenment, whatever it might be, you can swap out realization for that, right? And realization being something that had always been true, that was basically hidden in plain sight that you didn't see, and then you see it, right? It's kind of like walking in a crowded park. There are people everywhere one day, and you're just kind of not paying attention, and a stranger walks towards you, and you get about 10 feet from them, and you realize, oh, that's not a stranger, that's Laura. The stranger didn't magically become you.
Mm.
It had always been you. And then and it's just, we're living life, which is why the sages say, like, after enlightenment, do the laundry, chop wood, draw water. So I think that there's our natural state, which is ineffable, which is, like Rupert Spira, all these people talk about, you're not the experience. You are the one who is experiencing all things, whether that be thoughts, emotions, feelings, whatever it might be. And that's your natural state. And I think what these experiences do for most people, well, I'll only speak for myself. How about that? I can only speak for myself. The thing that breath work, sitting in darkness, studying non duality, experimenting with psychedelics, these have all sort of shaken me loose, like snapped me out of the trance of my own sense of mistaken identity and realized, oh, I am this aware presence that is that is primary to my life. And its nature is total peace. And its nature is contentment. And its nature is happiness and joy. And and then and then my mind slips in and I get really focused on I need to make money. I have to pay the rent. I have to do this, right? And then all of a sudden that limitless, boundless being becomes Kevin. And I have to do the laundry again.
Hmm.
So it's like to me, doing these things is an exercise in reminding myself, not just mentally, but in a felt sense, that I'm both, that I'm both boundlessness and also, a kid from the Midwest, who is putting a kid through college and is navigating the beautiful opportunities and perils of, marriage and living life in America, you
Yeah.
know. But
Yeah.
all of these experiences are so important to me. I mean, like you mentioned the darkness. So I have a friend who runs a dark cave retreat place here in Oregon. So I went and sat in its complete darkness. I mean, the darkest dark that has ever darked. I mean, it is dark. And people used to do this. I've done this for
Wait. But share with everybody. You did this for how many days?
I think it was 4 days, if I
4 days.
remember right.
And your meals came through
A box.
a
Yeah, it's like
box.
a basically a box that goes through that is embedded in the wall. There's a door on each side. Once a day he comes and he opens the door from one side, puts the food in, closes the door, and then I can open it from the other side without letting light in.
But then you
So again,
can't see while you eat,
no,
everything is pitch black.
everything is pitch black.
Okay, I
Yeah,
just want to set the scene because I love you, but that feels like a hell no to me. So go ahead.
yeah. Well, if anybody listening to this has ever gone on a cave tour where they take you deep into a cave and then they turn off all the lights, and it's that darkness that swallows you, almost wraps you like a blanket, like has a weight to it. It's velvety, it's heavy without being suffocating, but it's there. And it's like that. Yeah, because I went in the evening. He orients you. You close the door. There are light switches, so you could always turn on the light if you wanted to. You could leave if you wanted to. But you light a candle, you turn off the lights, and then when you're ready to blow out the candle, you blow out the candle, and then you're plunged into darkness.
Okay.
And and it's built into the side of a mountain, so it's also sensory deprivation. You don't hear anything, you don't see anything. Um, yeah, you're basically just in this room for 4 days.
So I appreciate you bringing up the or sharing the environment. And so in that, would you say what was the outcome that you had from that
Yeah.
terrorizing experience?
Well, it wasn't terrifying for me.
I
I
know,
love,
just I'm projecting.
yeah, yeah. I realize I love life. I
Mm,
love being able to see. I mean, by the time he came and got me out on that last day, it was like Christmas morning,
mm.
I mean, just the thought that I could go outside and, breathe fresh air and what happens is on the last day you put on a blindfold before he opens the door and brings you out, leads you outside. He sets you down in a chair. Then he hits record on a video camera and films you taking off your mask. And I mean, it was miraculous. It was amazing just to see the trees and the fog drifting through the trees. But that was so impactful to me, mostly because of the opposite of that. Like all of that had been willfully given up, taken away, right? And in the darkness, I mean, there's nothing to do. I mean, a friend asked me, well, what happened? And my answer is nothing. Like nothing happened. The first 12 hours, 10 hours is pretty easy because you start at night and you go to sleep. And then you wake up and you're just with yourself. And then the thoughts come.
Yeah.
And then
And
and then you face all of those things.
yeah, yeah. And I think like back to sort of what led us into this story, like this question of, what are these experiences?
Hmm.
Why bother? Why do them? Why put yourself through it? So
Yeah.
option, your first answer, well, I'm called to this. I am like a
Yeah.
flower into the sun. But then the second piece is after a period of time, the questions need to be experiential, and those experiences have this value of reminding you of what it is that's past
Yeah.
the seen into the unseen, because unfortunately we are in these senses, and these senses
Hmm.
remind us constantly of the Laura-ness of life or the Kevin-ness of life, the
Yeah.
consistent barrage of what we believe is constantly happening, where we can't get past that into this uh
Yeah.
quite boring as you put it other piece, the unseen, but
Yeah.
where I think the truth of life is really sitting all the time.
That's true. Yeah. And I'll give you a really specific story from the darkness
Okay.
that that I think answers the question of like why do any of these things, right? So I think it was maybe halfway into the second day or something like that. And I got really fidgety and all of my tricks failed me. Like meditation didn't work. Breath work didn't work. Stretching didn't work, you know, and I was just in it. And I was thinking, this is dumb. Like I'm in hell. Like this is like why I'm locked in this room. And then it was almost like this little voice went, you did this to yourself, man. And I realized I just stopped. It was almost like all of the chatter in my mind stopped. And I realized, oh my gosh, I can walk out of this room if I want. I can turn on this light if I want. I am literally doing this to myself. And I realized that that was true of my entire life. Whether I was in heaven or in hell, I was right. And I laughed out loud in the dark. And I was like, isn't that a fucking thing? Is what I said to myself. I was like,
Yeah.
oh, that's it. And I think for me, a lot of these experiences are the reminder that I create my reality,
Yeah.
not the circumstances of my reality, but how I respond to life, which actually is my life, right? How I respond to life is my way of being, and my way of being and how I show up and all of these things. And I think that's the key lesson for me in all of these experiences is I'm creating my reality actively. I'm 100% radically responsible for that. My responsibility, my ability to respond to life. And it's so like the conditioning and the algorithms are so strong in me that, because I'm 50 now and I've got decades and decades of reinforced, programs running that I forget that. And I fall into, I move from being the hero to being the victim. or I might move from being the victim to being the villain, right? Which is also another story. And so for me, like coming out of the darkness, it was a clear because there were no distractions. Like it was very obvious. I'm doing this to myself.
Yeah.
Um, have you seen there's a meme, there's a little boy and he's got a boot on his face and he looks like he's in terrible pain. His face is like on the ground and it says, before spiritual awakening. And the next panel zooms out a little bit and you see it's his hand that's inside of the boot. So he's holding his own head down and it says after spiritual awakening.
That's funny. That's
And I
funny.
think that's what these experiences, whether it's, I mean, pick your poison or pick your elixir or whatever it is. Um, it's to help us zoom out and see that so that you can actually get up off the ground, put the boot down and go, you know, live creatively.
We already are living creatively, just maybe be aware of it.
That's right. Well
Yeah.
said. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, that's
If you're into that
beautiful.
kind of thing,
What's
like
that?
living free.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I think we are energy, and so energy is already free. We can't see it. So we are constantly in conflict with what
Yeah.
life experience is because our eyeballs have a very particular perception.
Yeah.
But that said, I think that's the point. It's the recognition in those moments, and then
Hmm.
the recognition that those moments will leave, and it's okay too.
Yeah.
Like, I think I got stuck here for a really long time, that it was not okay to come back to my egoic, everyday
Hmm.
personality. Laura can be fill in the blank, XYZ, not enough, da 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 da,
Yeah.
whatever. And that somehow I was like failing in spirituality if I
Yeah.
wasn't able to sustain that level of clarity, right? And
Yeah.
and I don't know, I know you were doing integration coaching. You still do sometimes for people after psychedelics.
Hmm.
What is that through line like, right? They come out and the awe of the experience, right? They're
Yeah.
grappling. They like you had it with yours, I've had my own, and you're
Yeah.
just, wow, oh my God. And you're unpacking and you're realizing and you see the world through a different place. And then a couple months later, perhaps less so, right? And then you want to
Yeah.
do it again and again and again. How do you how do you keep out of that trap? For me, it's like the recognition that the goal isn't to stay there. It's not
Yeah.
about remaining out of body in that transcendent state
Yeah.
24/7. I love Thich Nhat Hanh pieces in every step, right? He breathes every step. I saw the
Hmm.
Dalai Lama and he was talking and he pauses and he prays for a second because it's like
Yeah.
even in conversation, he's like, I need to come back. I need to come back. I need to come back, right? It's got to be
Yeah.
a constant practice, in my opinion. But what is your view on that kind of um I think cycling trap, right? Like I'm
Hmm.
trying to fill myself by making enough money. So I keep making money. It's not quite getting me there. I'm trying to fill myself with
Hmm.
more kids, more a different partner. If I get divorced, I will find my way there. If I just find enough passion, I will be happier. And then it's like, okay, if I can connect to my soul often enough,
Yeah.
right? Like it's the same experience
I,
in my mind.
I think it is. There's this guy, Vincent Felitti. He's a trauma and addiction expert, he's a psychologist, I think. And he was talking about cocaine in this instance, I think, but he said, or sex, he said, it's impossible to get enough of something that almost works. And spirituality is also one of those things that almost works because it's still a finger pointing at the moon, right?
Yeah.
To steal from the Buddha. And we get addicted to sucking on the finger
Yeah.
or looking at the finger. And I think I've given up on trying to eliminate resistance and friction from my life. I believe that this is an inherent law of the three-dimensional world, that whatever it is that we are, and I believe that what we are is essentially spirit that is um, enjoying the human experience. It's both and, right? Like it's, you are both. You are both uh, infinite potential and also a limited, bounded self.
Yeah.
It's both, right? Like, and there's great, I mean, that is a very sacred thing. I mean, it's amazing. It's beautiful. And when when I realize that I'm okay with that, that I can flow with life, right? It's kind of like Sri Nisargadatta Maharaj, right? The book I Am That. A lot of people have read that, and he says there's the between the banks of pain and pleasure flows the river of life, and the only problem we have is when we swim to the shore and get stuck on one side or the other, and that you just flow with the river of life. And I think these peak experiences, whatever they might be, whether they be pain or pleasure, right, is like it's the experience of the thing and realizing, oh, well, there's something more to life that I'm experiencing, and I don't want to get stuck where I am, so I'm going to keep flowing. And yeah, I mean, you eventually come back and have to do the laundry. You come back and you have to deal with um, the stuff in your relationships and the stuff that you hide from yourself and the stuff that you hide from other people. And I think that that's, it's about knowing oneself. It's like over the temple of, in Delphi, know thyself and then accept thyself and then become a conscious creator of your life. And I do think that it's those three things: know yourself, accept yourself, which is what most people have the hard time with. um yeah, and then be a conscious creator.
Yeah. Yeah. And why have you struggled to accept yourself?
Because I don't know, I think there are a couple reasons. One is I think that there is something genetic, inherited. It's almost like a piece of malware that's been snuck into our operating system as humans. I think that we're all born with. I think there's something there um, in human nature. And then I think also we're just conditioned that way, right? I mean, just think about how people make money these days. Money has become the altar at which we worship, like every nation, right? Every people group. Um, and people make money by convincing us that we suck. You're not good enough as you are, but I've got the answer to all your problems,
Right.
you know? And if you buy my thing, then,
Right.
you will suck less
Yeah.
until next season when the new thing comes out, right?
I mean, we
And then,
talked about this nonstop at the little soul school when we were working together. Like, I was like, I do not want to be involved in scarcity marketing, right? Like
yeah,
this concept
yeah,
of I've got some solution that you must have. And when you get it, you're going to feel as great as I do because I've somehow like cracked the nut of life that you haven't, right? It's like,
yeah,
it's very, and I always laugh about like, a normal shop, like a pizza shop guy doesn't do that. It's not like if you have my pizza, your life is solved. It's like really specific to like some industries. Yeah.
yeah, yeah. And then you pile on top of that how companies are incentivized, right? I mean, the US stock market is propped up essentially by five companies, and they are the technology companies, AI, who have monetized our attention and make money on uh, the darker aspects of human psychology. And so it's it's almost impossible. I would say maybe it's impossible unless you live in the woods, completely off grid to avoid it.
Yeah.
So it's in the water, it's in the air. Everybody's affected by it in some way. And which is why I think people are so drawn to consciousness and seeking out experiences, because we sense, and I think we know inherently, that there's more to us than we have been told. And and we want to find out. We're like wayfinders that, we're standing on a shoreline looking out into the ocean, wondering what's out there. Like, I think there's something out there. And there's a larger and larger number of people that are willing to set sail, not knowing what they'll find. And they're finding enough things and reporting back to people that they're like, hey, there's this new land over here, but you're going to have to let go of the old, right? That's the cost. You're going to have to leave the shore. But I think that's what people are looking for, is just this sense of aliveness. I want to know freedom, because that actually is our at the core of our being.
Yeah.
And so, you know, some people do it through, psychedelics, some people do it through tantra or um, you know, I mean, there are a million different things, a million different ways, painting. But everybody is looking for the same person, which is this themselves.
Absolutely. And I think for people who are out there who are listening, who are like, yeah, I mean, I'm that person. Mm, at the Little Soul School, we do these Akashic record readings, and the Akashic record readings are the energetic space of your soul's history. And in there, we connect to guidance to see what it is that perhaps can help you connect back to yourself. And the number one question is, what is my purpose? What is my purpose? What is my purpose? Am I on the right path? Am I on the right path? What is my purpose? And the reason I think people are asking that is that they're looking for a feeling, right? Like, there's something that's not quite right. I'm either living a perfectly normal life, or my life is not going that well objectively. But the thing they're seeking, to your point, is within. And so I guess my question to you, and I can share as well, but like, what could they do today? Like, psychedelics aren't something that everybody's going to jump on, or jumping into a dark room, or um, what is a way that you believe helps people locate that elusive sense of freedom that they could do in their pajamas on a walk? Like,
Yeah.
like, what is that the non-dualists sort of say to tap into the awareness? Like, what is it that you do?
Turn off your phone. Just take one day or take 2 days, Saturday, Sunday. Warn your friends, warn your family. I'm going to turn off my phone and go outside or sit in quiet for a little bit. Be bored. Like, sense the space in your own life, because there is space. And I know it's very difficult for, I mean, there's some people who have, very busy lives, 3 kids, 4 kids, whatever it might be, one kid. Um, I mean, it could even be just take an afternoon to yourself. And there's a felt sense of, it's like, I call it a feeling tone. Like, there's a way that it is to be me, right? There's an energy that is Laura. Like, when you walk in the room, there's like this signature, it's like its own note. And everyone has this, right? Like, my wife walks in the room or my daughter walks in the room, I instantly know, because I'm finally attuned to that, you know, frequency or whatever you might call that. I think that in the same way that birds and animals navigate using the Earth's magnetic field, they're just naturally drawn one way or the other. I think so too are we. But it requires getting quiet enough until you can become intimately acquainted with that tone. You can become intimately acquainted with that subtle sense of, this is the way. Like, I'm drawn this way. I don't know why, but I'm drawn this way. You can call it intuition. You can call it spirit. You can call it whatever you like. Um, but it's the signal in the noise. And the way you can most help yourself, I think, is to dial down the noise. Turn off Netflix, set down your phone, create some space in your life. And there's always space. Like, even if it's just 30 minutes or an hour, like, if you can't find space in your life, like, email me. I will help you find space in your life to do this. Don't give away my email address. um, but I I think it's that. And then follow your own curiosity. It's okay to step off of whatever path you're on. Step off the path if you're feeling drawn to take a left or to take a right. There is really no right way, as far as I can tell. Um, there's just where am I leaning toward? What am I guided toward? And I've noticed as I've listened to that and taken steps, and you've helped me out with this, with red light, yellow light, green light, and learning to, you know, this thing with the Akashic records, and learning to um, accept and once again rely on our own self sovereignty and our own inner wisdom is maybe the most powerful thing anyone can do in their lives. And however you think, however you're drawn, that seems like a path toward that, follow that. I joke about the psychedelic thing. I mean, I experimented with that. And I say experimented, and I mean very intentionally. I don't mean recreationally. I mean very intentionally with
Yeah.
people that are
Yeah.
trained in lineages and right and supported and guided with counselors and things like that.
Yeah.
Um, but whatever it is that you're drawn to that for a particular reason, in the same way that a bird is drawn to a true north. And I think that nobody can tell you what that is for you. You have to discover it for yourself, which means you have to learn to trust yourself again. And you have to learn to follow that inner guidance. And all of these books, all of the online courses, all of the gurus and teachers, um, ultimately, like they're pointing to that so that you will no longer need them. Hopefully, you know, it's like once you get the answer, hang up the phone and then go live your life.
Yeah. Yeah. And I mean, you're somebody who has read so many of these books and done so many of these different programs. Your knowledge on the different literature, and you've studied uh I mean, you were raised very Christian, and that experience. And so you have a depth of knowledge. In the end, when you think about your understanding of what has been spoken through, you know, whether it's religious studies or philosophies or spiritual texts, um, is there something you come back to over and over? Is there a
Mm-hmm.
particular book or a particular turn of phrase, or just even a philosophical view that you're like, for whatever reason, this one, it just continuously speaks to me. I've got the T.S. Eliot poem that I can't get over, right? This few lines in the four quartets, it's like the still point of the turning world, there the dance is, right? I feel like he communicated the stillness and motion, this evasive, like elusive space perfectly in
Mm-hmm.
that piece. Is there something that you, or some theory that you feel, oh, that's as close? We don't know, right? We don't know what the
Yeah.
unknown is. We'll never know. We can only approximate. There's the veil between us and the unseen. But is there anything that just, you know,
Yeah,
connects to you
there
most?
is.
I know
Before I
there's a
share it,
lot. Yeah.
there's one thing actually. But before I share what that one thing is, like, I have to say that the secret is that there's no secret. There's just no secret, right? There's this guy, Ramana Maharshi, and probably lots of people have heard about this guy. Um, and he didn't speak for many, many, many years. He lived in India. He's a guru. And he said The only thing that's really required is one question: Who am I? And just contemplate that. Like when I say I, like I accept myself. Well, who is I? Like even in that, like recognizing that there seem to be two different things happening: I and a self that the I accepts.
Yeah.
I accept myself. Who am I? What does that even mean? Like, what is I? Like, if you would strip away all of the stories that I have about myself, like if I were able to give you a pill that if you took it for 24 hours, you would have amnesia. Like all of your memories of all the traumas that have happened in your life, all of the good things, all of the beautiful joys, all of the hard things, all of the things that cycle in your mind over and over and over and over, silenced all of those for 24 hours. Would you be you
Yeah.
without the story of who you think you are and who you think others think you are? And so it's, like for me, these different things like sitting in the dark, that was the one question I sat with is, what is this thing I call I? Who am I? And it turns out it's mostly uh, a story, but beneath that story is this ineffable, unpin downable awareness that it just simply I am. I, I am. I exist. I know I exist, and everything else is added on to that. And so that's my one thing is who am I? So I'll just walk in the woods and I won't even like think hard about it. It's just like, who am I? Just kind of relax and who am I? And then inevitably these little intuitions will pop up, not as really thoughts, but just kind of as feelings, and I'll realize, I'm kind of like the trees here. Like I'm not really living life. I'm part of life. Life is living me in the same way it's living through this tree, just different, you know? I want
Yeah.
different things than trees want. Um, I
Yeah.
think.
Yeah.
So it's that.
I love it. I love it.
I'm really simple that way.
Simple guy. This was just the really straightforward. Kevin, thank you. I appreciate you. Thank you for sharing your story and your gifts of your wisdom. And, I'll say again, you're somebody who I speak to on a regular basis, and the depth of your contemplation on this topic is always a joy to have in my life. And I appreciate you, and I appreciate you sharing it with everybody. And yeah, any closing words before we say goodbye?
Yeah, just one last thing. Well, thank you for having me, first of all. And to tell everybody, wherever you are, whatever's happening in your life right now, whatever stuff you're dealing with, um, there's nothing wrong with you. You are okay. Like who you are is vastly, vastly more than you think. And go discover what that is.
I love that. I love that, particularly right now. Thank you, Kevin. I appreciate you. Thank you guys for listening. And until next time.